tree, and we have a very special day today because it's Sheila's last coffee at 10. She is officially retiring. Tomorrow is her last day. And so we just, after 2 years as visual arts director, she's accomplished so much in a short amount of time, made a lot of meaningful connections with people that will last well beyond your time here. So we just want to say thank you, and we'll miss, try not to get emotional, but we'll miss you. So here you go. Yeah. Oh, now you gotta put that on. Oh, thank you.
Like a little.
Yeah,
Thank you, Angela. Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you so much. So it's great to see you here. I want to acknowledge also Liz Ahrens, also former, what was your title, president or director at that time? I don't know. FA. So yeah, Liz hired me first time around, and so that was 2016. Yeah. I was putting for Angela together a list of all the exhibitions from the last 10 years. So I had the opportunity to go through memory lane with the exhibitions that we did together. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks for the introduction, Angela. And it's been such a gift to be back at Crooked Tree. I love this place. I can't believe my good fortune that when I decided to come back up north that I had actually the opportunity to rejoin the staff here as a coordinator and then as the visual arts director. And it's the most fun job ever. When I talk to Angela, sometimes she's like, "Oh my God, your job sounds like so much fun." Like, it is mostly, except for the spreadsheets, which, aren't my favorite. And it's been such a gift to work with the staff, with, well, Alyssa and Greg are here, and volunteers, Penny, and, other volunteers here, board members, Michelle, so on. So, and artists, Connie, so many people here. So it's just such a great community, and I feel so lucky. So today I have a slideshow. I finished it at midnight. You're like, what did I say? I'm usually pretty good at extemporaneous, but I wanted to cram in a lot of stuff today. So it's a walk through the exhibitions, but it's also a walk through my process of organizing an exhibition. So that's what I've got for you today. That's why we're not up and walking around yet. So I got a bunch of slides, so I'm going to show you the slides and talk a little bit about those. Then we'll go for a tour. And then I want to say that Alyssa juried the at-home exhibit. So when we're having the tour, Alyssa will have some remarks when we go into the other room. Oh, am I supposed to? Just like here? All right. All right, sorry. Okay, so I got lots of colorful slides here. I'm going to talk just about my vision and process. Every curator is different. Everybody does it a little differently, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about my process. I'm going to talk fast because I got a lot of slides. So I'm going to give just an overview of the processes of we do, how we explore, or how I explore themes and topics in relationship to our locale audience, community engagement, collaboration, and programming. I'm an educator, so when I'm thinking of exhibitions, I'm really thinking how community, what kind of programs can we do to bring people in? And then the logistical and physical work of realizing exhibitions. Then we'll have a brief tour of the exhibitions. It won't be that dangerous. So when I'm thinking about themes, I'm trying to balance local relevance with novel elements, something that's new to our community. So to kind of balance those two, how can we reflect our world and then also expand it? I got some of these cool hawk skis. That's why I put that one up, these Central Asian backcountry skis. So I thought that was, that's expanding my world for sure. So when I'm thinking about themes, I'm thinking about audience engagement. Who are our audience? We're always trying to figure this out as an organization. Who is our audience? How can we expand our audience? So I'm thinking about youth and adults, families, members, people interested in art, local residents, seasonal audiences, and people who aren't interested in art and don't feel comfortable coming here necessarily. So I think, how can we expand our audience? Who might come into the Art Center because of their connection to our exhibition themes? And we saw that this summer because the exhibition included boats and fishing lures and so on, we had brought some new audience members in this summer. I'm really thinking about school tours in our fall and winter exhibitions. You see Penny, one of our star tour guides here. You can count on seeing Penny. We get, over the course of the year, what do we get, Alyssa? Over 600 kids come, 1,200 kids, 1,200, 600 a season. And so children, that's the next generation of folks, you know, engaging with the arts. So I'm always thinking like, that's why that dancing mule is there. Because I think, oh my God, the kids are going to love the mule. Like, I don't know if they do, but yeah. And the adults walk in, they're like, maybe you're wondering if you haven't seen it, like, why is that mule here? Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. Okay. So the other thing is like this is such a special community. I said I'm lucky to be back to have fallen back into cricketry, but this is an amazing community. I mean, we've got natural beauty. We've got the environment is amazing. The lake is there. We've got art. We've got music. Like this is really a special place. And there are so many organizations that are doing amazing educational work to connect with. So that's the other thing I think about when I'm thinking of, when I've thought, not thinking anymore, when I thought, past tense, Sheila, when I've been thinking about it, I think, who can we work with? Who else can we bring into the fold that we can learn from, be inspired from, share, and also get a little of their audience over? So, so the other thing is in thinking about exhibitions, what perspectives can we have from our local artists and from regional artists, bringing artists in from a little bit beyond, the Northern Michigan region. So, and then I'm thinking, how could we pair two exhibitions? So we have variety and coherence. So like we have on ice and at home. In the fall, we had the art of well-being with process and practice and vibrant matter. And that when the exhibitions are paired, it's a lot easier to design program, engage audiences, design school tours, marketing, and everything. So that's been the other goal. So this was the summer. This was the fall. And this is our current exhibition, On Ice and at Home. So I would be remiss not to mention, this is a beautiful painting that Jacob Lawrence, site director. She's in Traverse City. She saw Margie's work. These are Margie's work. Margie does plein air painting. She actually goes out on the ice and paints plein air on the ice. And she's been doing it for years. And on the back of those photographs is a map of where she's made the paintings, which is pretty cool. But when Christy saw her work, she said, that's Margie's work? It's like so gray. And so she's usually so colorful. Margie actually also paints really beautiful, giant, vivid still lifes and plays the jazz saxophone. So she's a special person. Gretchen Dorian is a local photographer. She's an ice boat photographer. So you'll see her photographs here of ice boat races. Another crazy lady who goes out on the ice. She gave a great coffee at 10 here and brought all her safety gear. So if you start falling through the ice, the little, like spikes you use to drag yourself across the ice to safety. Special hand warmers for her camera batteries because they're out there freezing when it's below zero. She's actually been to Siberia. She's photographed in Siberia. She's amazing. She's a local treasure, Gretchen Dorian. And then we have Kevin Barton. Probably a lot of you know Kevin Barton. You see him out painting all over town. He also paints very colorful work, but he was really moved by the ice storm to paint photographs from the ice storm. He called it haunting. There's a little text about his reflection about that. He said it was hauntingly beautiful, like so much devastation, but it was magical, really, seeing the frozen trees. So Kevin Barton is another amazing local artist. Ray Gaynor, he'll also see his photographs downstairs. Alyssa curated a very nice show from the Cricketry Photographic Society. And Ray Gaynor also was moved by the ice storm and has several photographs of the ice storm and just beautiful ice photographs from Northern Michigan. Deanna has 3 little tiles there. She's local ceramic artist here. And Amy Sacca, you'll see the sort of title image. I thought that was this one's called Polar Plunge. And I thought that was a good entryway photograph for the show. Like, let's just jump into it. Let's seize the day. It's crazy cold out there. Susan Tusa used to photograph for, I can't remember if it's the Detroit News or the Free Press, and she's become an art photographer. That's all her work there. It's a little bit unusual installation. Her work is not framed. It's put up with magnets. Those aren't actually push pins piercing her work. But it's very informal presentation, but it's a pain in the butt to put those in. Heidi Parks has quilts in here and the other room. She's out of Milwaukee. And they're all hand quilted. She has a very loose, playful style of quilting. And I invited her, I found her actually online. I invited her for the at-home show, and I was telling her, oh, it's paired with on ice. She said, oh, really? I've got 3 ice quilts. Like, I've got 3 quilts that are about ice. Would you like those for the show? I'm like, yeah, yeah. And it adds a nice soft element, and it works, I think, well on that wall. We've got the Little Traverse History Museum participating because, as you may know, there's a history, and we've got folks here who work at the History Museum that could tell you more about it. But Petoskey had the state winter festival. It was the state festival. People came on trains by the thousands, and there's a lot of content. Like, we can get the monitor up. There's a little video there. And so in the 30s and 30s to 50s, I can't remember exactly which years, but Stanley Kellogg, a lot of you know him as a local sculptor and ceramic artist. Some of you actually own some of his work. He designed these giant ice palaces, and there's a plaster model down there, 100 feet wide, 80 feet deep, and 60 feet tall, cut out of the bay by WPA, Works Progress Administration workers, hiring artists to actually cut blocks of ice to build this ice palace. And there's some very cool photographs. So bringing in the historic element, helps create local context for the exhibition. That was the real element. And it's just so nice to work with the History Museum. Like, yeah, you want the mule? Take the mule, sure. And I want to express my gratitude to Greg. Greg here, he's our new buildings superintendent. I don't know what, he's super guy, amazing, all kinds of engineering skills. And he helped fashion an armature for the mule. He built a corner shelf. He helped me get some of the quilts in the other room are pretty heavy. So I'm super grateful to Greg. And, I'm grateful to volunteers. Connie has helped hang exhibitions. It's always really great to have some help. So the next exhibit, so in the other room there's also an invitational. Usually it's like a jury show or an invitational show, and they're not usually blended. But I'm just going to be frank with you. I put the call out there, at home on ice. Maybe that was not the right thing to do. So that one was on ice, but at home, but I wanted people to understand that it was paired with another exhibition. There were very few submissions, and I was starting to freak out, like, oh my God. Like, and the one submission, I'm just going to say, it was a bunch of ashtrays with cigarette butts, which, like somebody's home. I don't know if that makes you cozy in the winter, but I'm like, oh my God. I said to Alyssa, oh geez, I think I'm going to have to invite some artists. So I found some artists to invite for that exhibition to kind of anchor the exhibition. Now they were not considered for prizes because that wouldn't really be fair. So there's like a juried part and an invitational part. We kind of decided to distinguish them by the labels. But anyway, so we had the invitational part, and these are folks. This is Eric Wolfmeyer. He is the artist that did the geometric quilts. He studied art, color theory. And anyway, so he's got beautiful quilts. He does all the piecing himself, but he has them hand quilted. He pays women, I think in Appalachia, to hand quilt them. And the stitches are tiny. They're like incredibly fine. So if you look at the price tag, $8,000, that's a deal. I mean, if you've done any quilting for those. And then Heidi Parks, she's the artist that did these and did pieces in the other room as well. Madeline, anybody good with the Polish pronunciation here? Help me out with that. Kazmarczyk, maybe. She did these little beautiful teapots. She's a local artist. Heidi Marshall, you probably know Heidi Marshall. She has a couple of pastels in there as well. Little Traverse Quilters, they just did a coffee at 10 last week, which was amazing. They do incredible work. I mean, the love that they give to the community is just amazing. They have one quilt in there which they made for their president, but they did, they have these different subgroups. Quilts of Valor makes quilts for veterans, children's quilts for people, smaller quilts for children, like for car seats that for people who can't necessarily afford it, hospice quilts. and placemats for Meals on Wheels. So anybody who gets a hot meal can get a beautiful hand quilted placemat. I guess a lot of people hang them on the wall, but people have come, we were asking like how you, she said, people come to expect it. Once they get Meals on Wheels, they're coming to expect that placemat. So, and so it's these, they buy all the fabric, they have the pieces machine quilted, and it is all just out of love. The speaker, Teresa, last week said, you know, we've all made enough wedding quilts. We've all made enough birth quilts. We're at a point in our lives where we just want to give back to the community. What an amazing place we live. So they have a quilt in the other room. They were invited. So how do we post and manage juried exhibitions? We use this platform called Cafe. It's not ideal, but it's one that many artists use. And so there's a call that goes out. It goes out on Cafe. Artists submit works. Submissions are juried online. Alyssa juried them. So these were the ones that got juried into this exhibition. You might recognize some of the names there. We have, you know, some local, some members, some local artists, and some, you know, honestly, folks who come from further away. And by the way, we have a new call that opens today. It's called In Motion Making Art Dance, and it's juried by Peter Sparling, who's doing the choreography for the Martha Graham. So it's the 100th anniversary of the Martha Graham Dance Company, and the Crooked Tree School of Ballet is doing like an original, not an original, I think they're redoing an American document. Is that right? Yeah, Martha Graham in the 30s was invited to go perform in Nazi Germany and decided not to go, but in response created this whole choreography called an American document in response to that. And, you know, her work was very emotional. So anyway, they're doing a version of that dance, and Peter Sparling is choreographing it. It's going to be totally amazing. Summer of programming around Martha Graham. And so we're going to have that Barbara Morgan exhibition of photographs in the other gallery. And then Peter is during a show called In Motion Making Art Dance that will be here. So if you're interested, know somebody interested, the call goes live today, or it is live today. Okay, process. Artists, once they submit, they're notified, hey, great, you're invited, or, you know, sorry. And then contracts and inventory forms are mailed, signed contracts, inventories organized, and accounts created, data entered into consign cloud, labels generated, marketing materials, more marketing materials. Fine. So there's a lot of back end stuff that goes on. Then the artwork comes in. Oh my God. Oh my, this was a fall show, and most of it was shipped. It took me 5 hours just to unpack the work. And eventually Michelle came in and helped me with condition reports after I had unpacked it. But when we're unpacking, that's how, oh yeah, unpack it. Okay, you got all kinds of boxes, all kinds of packing materials, and we're photographing it as we go, just like surveillance at UPS, you know, like, if it's going to come out damaged, we need to know, and how are we going to repack it? So we do all of that, and then like this one was damaged on the back, so. So we do condition reports, like what condition are they? Then we have to store all the boxes, and then we begin taking stock, like, oh, what have we got here? And then I'm usually, oh, what was I thinking? Oh my God, how is this ever going to come together? Like, and then there are like waves of it like that. But then the fun begins, and we start organizing things thematically or by color, or try to create little stories. And every curator, you know, Alyssa and I have worked together, and we have different aesthetic approaches to it. Everybody does it differently. Like, even if I came in the following day, I would do it differently. It's very much like making a collage, and it's super, super fun. So it looks something like that at some point, and then start organizing things against the wall. How does this look next to that? So once the sequence is established, then work they need to be sort of spaced out. So they're spaced on the wall. And many of you remember Bill Millar. Bill, when I first started here, Bill, I can remember Bill from when I came in for my interview. He's like, do you know how to hang stuff? He had me like, but he was an orthodontist. He straightened teeth. I'm like, oh my God, could there be a better volunteer to, like, you know? So, but yeah, the other thing was that, like, you know, John Fergus-Jean has talked about this. We like to play with negative space. It's a really important part of the dynamic, and Alyssa works with this, where you have art and where you don't have art. Just like with music, where the silences are, you know, you just got to play with the negative space. So he liked to have things like this. So it was like, oh, come on, Bill, we need a little counterpoint here, a little dynamism. So anyway, but he was amazing, and Connie and other volunteers now come help with that. So then we start the physical hanging. Like I said, Greg was amazing with Bozo the skating mule. And helping with all of that. So if you want to help, if you want to volunteer to hang exhibitions, I don't know where Helen is today, but you could see Helen after the talk. It's always nice to have help. So once it's up, then we get the 3D work going, level it, hang the labels, install the lettering. If there's additional didactic text, like we have these extra labels, little stories people tell or additional information that we have. And then Greg gets up on the tall ladder and we play with the lighting and then prepare for the reception. So anyway, you don't need slides of this. You can just look around, but that's that exhibition and then at home. So that is